Shalom, family. I have returned to make another video, another edition of Spiritual Food for Thought. The family, as I always say, I hope that in spite of, all the things that's going on, that you continue in your walk and continue to cry out to the Father to help him, to ask for his help and helping us to understand ourselves. Because that's really, family, the first step in our creation process being complete. Because, we need to question our existence as created beings. And, the thing is, family, we must never forget that we are created beings. But this is something that the spirit of pride causes us to forget. And it causes us to come to a place, family, where we believe that it's all about us. And nothing's further from the truth, family, because we just a small part of his divine creation, which is so vast, family, we can't even comprehend it. The thing is, we have to always remember that we was created to serve a purpose. And see, the spirit of pride in this world keeps us distracted from even acknowledging or, understanding or realizing the importance of understanding that without purpose, family, there is no real life. It's like an illusion that the things that we're experiencing around us. And these things was created by Hasatan to distract us. And, from really contemplating or searching out to try to find out, the Father's will for our lives and why we're here and what we're really supposed to be doing. And so, family, until we desire to know these truths as we continue to question our existence, family, we're headed for destruction. And so, I just, like I said, I'm just trying to encourage people, seek the Most High for yourself. First of all, realize and understand that we all was created with a purpose. And we can only get those answers, family, from the Most High Power, Yahuwah Elohim, who's our creator, who's the source of all things, who's ultimately in control of all of his creation. Even in this realm that we exist in, which is the realm of his permissive will. See, this is the realm where the battle of good and evil must take place. And these things must be allowed to play themselves out. Well, ultimately, is going to bring forth the perfect will of the Father, which is the manifestation of his kingdom. Okay? Like I said, as he said, as this world is not the kingdom, okay, this is the creation process of the kingdom. Ultimately, the Father's kingdom, family, is when all things will be one through the spirit of his divine love. So this process that we exist in right now, this dimension, family, this is the realm in which the Father has to use to try the investment of his spirit that he's invested in those that he's chosen. Those according to his own word that he chose since the beginning of the foundation of the earth. Okay, so it's about the imputed righteousness of his spirit that he's placed in those who he's chosen to love, which thus causes us created beings that love him to love him. It's not that we first love him, but he first loved us. Because as we're able to receive and understand the spirit of his mind, this is what causes us to submit to that authority. And we submit gladly because it makes absolute sense to us. So then when things make sense to us, that's when it's our nature at work. Okay, because I said the divine truth and absolute truth of nature, the nature of his divine love, family, it trumps everything. It trumps everything in this world. It'll trump head knowledge. All the things that we learn, they call it thirst for knowledge, but I call it a lust for knowledge. Because if the things that we seek and desire to know or understand, if it ain't pertinent to where we are right now on the Father's prophetic time clock, then what good is all that knowledge? It's vanity. See, man desires to know things so he can understand how he can manipulate his environment to put it under his control through manipulation. Because this is the nature. Because only the Father has the absolute authority and right to rule his creation. See, in the kingdom, the Father is going to rule his creation as he gives us the understanding in our minds so that we can know our place within his divine order. So then we stay in our lane and we don't violate the lanes of others so that they get to be themselves in him. This guy over here gets to be himself in the Father. That sister over there get to be herself. You know what I'm saying? As we all understand our place, family, this is how we become one. So then we're able to serve the Father as we serve in his kingdom. And that's as we serve our fellow creation in the kingdom with the gifts and talents that the Father's given each of us to serve by ministering life to others. Because this is how we're going to rule, by serving. Because we're going to rule by serving as we serve the Most High Power through the understanding of his mind. Then we can be a blessing to the world around us. So therefore, guess what? None of us will ever operate in a spirit of death that causes us to cut off the flow of life, which is to cut off the flow of his divine love. Okay? So these are the things that we must understand, family, is that, you know, like when Yahusha washed the feet of his disciples, he basically was trying to teach them, unless you had a heart of a servant, you're not going to enter the kingdom. And see, the bottom line is, you know, he just brought another revelation about that makes absolute sense why it must be this way. So, before I get started, family, you know, I just want to make that disclaimer. I'm not no teacher. I'm not no moron. I'm not none of these titles out here trying to tell you I'm trying to teach you what thus saith the Most High. No, I'm trying to encourage you. Seek the Most High for yourself so that he, by his same spirit that he imparted to our big brother, who is his only begotten son, Yahusha, our Mashiach, okay, to walk in obedience and understanding in the Father's will, would cause him to walk in a place where he never sinned against the Father, because he walked in total obedience, because he had the same mind as the Father, so he was in agreement with the Father's will. So the Father's will made absolute sense to him, so he was able to walk in that. But it's by his spirit that was possible. So he opened the door for us to receive the same spirit, or Ruach, that empowered him to walk as he walked. He said, this is better while I go away, because I'm going to pray to the Father, and he's going to send you another comforter, which is the Holy Spirit. The one that's going to lead us into all truth and teach us all things that we have no need that any man teach us. But the Ruach HaKodesh will lead us into all truth. So the bottom line is, family, we don't need another man between us and the Father. All the Father ever wanted was a relationship with each of us. Well, we had dialogue with him. He had dialogue with us. As the scriptures say, come, let us reason together, saith who? The Master. You see what I'm saying? Who's the Master? The Most High Power, Elohim, Yahuwah, is our Master. Okay, so the bottom line is, as he desired to have that dialogue with us, family, if we was as we're in the spirit, family, we got a direct pipeline to our Elohim. So the bottom line is, in our fallen nature, it's been proven. You can say one thing to one person, and by the time you get through 5, 6, 7 other people, it's a totally different story. So what does that tell you, the significance of hearing secondhand knowledge or secondhand words? What's better if all the Father wanted us to be is ourselves and he wanted us to have direct dialogue with him by his spirit, family? What's better than that? Why wouldn't we desire such a thing? You know what I'm saying? So as I said, we must seek the Most High for ourselves. And guess what? The reality is, family, we ain't going to do it until we begin to question our existence. Until we begin to question the things we've been taught and told by men. As I said, family, we've been lied to about everything. And until we understand that, that's what's going to keep us from turning to the source and trying to understand. Because in reality, we know in our hearts of heart that the only way we're going to get the absolute truth from, about the kingdom is through our source, who is the Most High Power, Elohim. You know what I'm saying? Till we go to the Father. Father means beginning and source. So until we go to the Father, family, we're not going to receive what we need. So guess what? We're going to perish because we're going to go by way of lies, of half-truths, and truths out of season, and all these different things. Instead of being brought to that place where we're being made one with the Most High and his prophetic time clock to even know what season we're really in and what's going on. Excuse me. So with that said, family, what I wanted to touch on this here topic, okay, it's simply called feet washing. Okay, as we look back at that account where Yahushua washed the feet of his disciples, okay, it talked about he girded himself up in a towel like a servant. The disciples was instructed that Yahushua was going to wash their feet. Okay? Now, Peter, as a man, okay, didn't want that to happen. Because he felt that, first of all, he felt that Yahushua, being who he was, how you gonna wash my feet? You know what I'm saying? He couldn't get with that. Because Yahushua, being the only begotten Son of the Most High Power, the fact that he humbled himself enough to gird himself up like a servant and wash the feet of his disciples, who was his followers, his servants, and he desired to wash their feet. And then, according to just part of, if I may be honest with this, I don't know about any of you, but I'm going to speak for myself on this. I can't imagine nobody washing my feet. Okay? It's something about it that don't feel right to me. And perhaps this is a spirit of pride. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that, for the most part, you kind of got it in you. Your feet stink. You don't want nobody else smelling that and all that kind of stuff. So the thought of somebody washing your feet, they'd get a whiff of them bad boys and, it'd be pretty embarrassing. So just, thinking that way, it just seemed something I wouldn't be comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? And then that part of, well, who am I that you should wash my feet? Okay, I could wash my own feet. If I need my feet washed, I'll wash my own feet. Okay. But this whole thing was a test and a lesson on pride. That's why I'm saying, and I mentioned that fact, is probably is a sense of pride that causes me to feel that way. Okay. But, so as he told his disciples what he was going to do, our brother Kepha spoke up. He's like, no way. No way for you to wash my feet. No way. No, we can't. For, the Most High forbid that. No. And then Yahusha told him, he said that, if I don't wash your feet, you shall in no way inherit the kingdom of the Most High Power. So then Kepha says, okay, don't just wash my feet, but wash all of me. Okay? And so basically, getting back to where Yahusha was coming from, he was telling them, unless you got the heart of a servant, you shall not see or enter the kingdom of the Most High Power. Now, this is what was revealed to me today about that. Okay. See, this wasn't just about us. Okay. Get this. Yahusha himself had to take on the heart of a servant. As he was the Son of the Most High. Okay. The one that did the works of the Most High. Okay. Him being who he was and the glory and all that he had as he is with the Father. He was one with the Father. Okay. To check his own pride, he had to do this. He had to take on the heart of a servant. Okay? And actually wash the feet of his servants to prove the spirit of humility that ruled and reigned in his life, even though he was the Son of the Most High Power. Okay? If he had not yielded to the call of the Spirit to be obedient and wash the feet of his servants, then there's no way we could have inherited the kingdom, because the work would have been done away with right then, because it would have proved that Yahusha was walking in a spirit of pride. Okay? So if he had fallen to that temptation of the spirit of pride and not washed the feet of his servants, then there's no way his servants could have took on that same identity, that same heart of the Father, of servants and servanthood to the Father, to be obedient to what he desires to show as he shows the spirit of his divine love. So if Yahusha hadn't yielded to the will of the Father to wash the feet of his own servants, then we never could have even been in a position to become a servant. See, this is why we got to understand, family, about the spirit of pride. See, the spirit of pride completely causes us to just basically go insane. Because if we don't understand ourselves as created beings and understand the reality we was created to serve, and see, we're going to rule by serving. Okay? Every man in his fallen nature is ready to rule over others. That's fallen nature. That's the spirit of pride. Okay, because if a man rules over another man and he takes pleasure in that, what do you think that that's doing to the spirit of pride in him? It's raising it up to a higher level. And so as we continue to subject others to slavery, to the slavery of our will, you see what I'm saying? It's like, as I said, slavery is the spirit of murder. Because yes, you can physically cause this thing to give up the ghost by the spirit of murder. As you bring harm to this temple that causes the ghost to leave this temple, that's murder. Okay? But so you denied that person from living his life as you took his life. So tell me, what's the difference between slavery in this world as people in their own pride have this desire to rule over others that they didn't create? How can that be just in the eyes of the Father? As I said, family, see, the Father's on a mystery. He's taking us deeper. He's bringing us the reality that the things that we think we know is nothing. And they're far from the absolute truth of the kingdom. But we can't know these things but by revelation of the way of his spirit. And we can't find these things or come to understand these things without the revelation of his spirit. But we can't come into these things if we ain't seeking these things out. It's so much to learn. It's so much to understand. But the world keeps us occupied with all this BS that distracts us from things that really matter. Even if you're trying to learn stuff about the Bible and what's in there and stuff like that. Listen, man, the Bible ain't nothing but the stories of men. That's what it is. But guess what? So is all the other books in this world. It's about stories of men. And we turn around and then we live by these things and look at the condition of the world. So truly, family, how are we going to get it right? How are we going to come to understand the mind of our Creator? Ain't but one way. One way, family. And that one way is that you got to look within yourself and understand that the Creator lives inside of you, and he been knocking on the door of your mind trying to communicate with you. All our lives he been doing that. But we so distracted with the things around us, family, and the spirit of pride keeps us caught up in the things around us. So we can best figure out how we can get control of the things around us by the only way that we can rule in our flesh, and that's by the power of witchcraft, which is manipulation. Because in our flesh, that's all we do. We manipulate our environment to get what we want. That's our nature in the flesh. Because in the flesh, we under the spirit of pride, and pride is the spirit of Hasatan, who's the ruler of the darkness of this world and the spiritual wickedness in high places. And the high places is up in here in the mind that keeps us enslaved to this world, that keeps us from even knowing who we are in the Most High Power. Because all this is about the spirit of lies. It's all it's about. It said Hasatan was a liar from the beginning. He was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. Okay, so the bottom line is, family, we got to understand these things. We got to have the heart of a servant. And we can't have the heart of a servant, family, as long as we continue to be caught up in the spirit of our pride. Period. That's why we must be born of the Spirit. So we got to understand, family, the reality is, as I hear so many people talking about ruling in the kingdom, ruling over this person, and ruling over that. Family, if the Father is the only one that has the absolute right and authority to rule his creation because he's the creator, and understanding the reality that he's always have ruled his creation, because he rules his creation, family, by giving us the understanding that we have that cause us to live our lives and walk and make the decisions that we make through our lives because of the understanding that he's given us. And that goes both ways, whether it's good or evil. Because if all of us have fell short, family, that means all of us have violated the Most High in some way at some point. So we got to be redeemed from that. And the only way we can be redeemed from that, family, is to be born of His Spirit. And the only way we're going to be born of His Spirit is to ask and to seek and to search Him out. To understand ourselves through His eyes, family, so we can be delivered from the darkness of this world. So we can be delivered from the spirit of pride that causes us to esteem ourselves and make our own selves our own God. Only He can deliver us from that. But you got to want it. But guess what? In reality, when it comes down to it, unless the Ruach draws you, can't even begin to seek and search Him out. So the fact, if you have no desire to do this, is pretty much speaks to where you are in your relationship with Him. We either have one or we don't have one. So the bottom line is, family, this is what I'm saying. We got to have a heart of a servant. And we got to understand that we was created by the Father to serve. Because to serve is to walk in the spirit of His divine love. Because you understand your life is about meeting the needs of others in need. Not serving ourselves and living it up and continue to building up our self-awareness that's separated from the Most High. That's our flesh. That's the spirit of pride. And as I said, we need to be delivered from the spirit of pride. And the only way we can be delivered from the spirit of pride, family, is to be broken by the presence of our Creator, brought into His presence so we're broken, so that then, family, we can be humbled, and then we can hear the voice of our Creator. We can hear Him saying to us now that all I ever wanted you to be, my son, my daughter, is yourself, but with the understanding of my mind, okay, to understand my purpose for even creating you, allowing you to see the beauty that I placed in you to serve me in my righteousness as being a blessing to all of creation around you, whether it's your fellow man or fellow creature or Mother Earth, and who I brought you all forth from. This is what the Father's saying to us right now, family. And until we get that, we ain't got a chance. Because all we're going to do is continue to walk in the lies of Hasatan, thinking that we supposed to rule over others. The Father is the only one got to rule over people, family. It ain't us. Look at us. We don't know ourselves. We don't understand ourselves. We don't even understand why we do the things we do half the time and all of this stuff. You know why? Because we created beings, family. And we ain't sought our Creator to find out these things. Because He has those answers. You see what I'm saying? So the only answers, the only way you're going to find the answers of the Father's will for your life is that you got to seek and search Him out for yourself. And He ain't far away. He been right here. What's closer than that? He been right here the whole time. But it's our pride that hides Him from us. Because He said He resists the proud, but He gives grace to the humble. So the bottom line is, family, we can't stand in the presence of the Most High in no kind of pride, because He don't deal with pride. The bottom line is, ultimately one day, He's going to ultimately deal with all pride. Okay? And it ain't going to be a good day at all for those who continue to walk in pride. And to walk in pride is defy His perfect will, the spirit of His divine love. Anything that's against that is going to be on the least side of the kingdom. And that's that lake of fire, and that's that place where, I say, is wailing and gnashing of teeth, and the worm dieth not. So the bottom line is, hey, and as I said, family, the Father is beginning to reveal the reality that apart from all of the torment and things that we know about that's in the scriptures and that we're learning and stuff like that, the worst thing ever, family, is going to be being separated from the spirit of His divine love. As you brought into an understanding of that's life itself. It's to be up under the spirit of the Father's divine love, which is the love of the kingdom. Okay, and that's where he's taking things. But until we understand, family, that spirit of pride got to go. Because the bottom line is, who are we that somebody should serve us? Who are we? The way we've lived and carried ourselves. Who the hell are we to think that somebody's supposed to be bowing at our feet and washing our feet? You know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is, if we desire for somebody to wash our feet, you know what I'm saying, for some kind of advantage that gives us an advantage, then guess what? Our heart ain't right before him. So in other words, we shouldn't be going around expecting to make other people servants to us. You see what I'm saying? That's pride is what that is. When we desire for somebody to serve us, to lift us up in some kind of way or something like that. Family, that's pride. That's a God complex. That's what the spirit of pride is a God complex. Where you think you're supposed to rule the Father's creation. Because, family, how can it be right? If you didn't create it, how can you rule it? The only way you can rule it is through what? Manipulation. Not in righteousness, but manipulation. And so guess what? That's out of order. Because it's nothing but the spirit of witchcraft. And guess who hate witchcraft? So how can it be righteous for us to walk in that spirit? So the bottom line is, to walk in the spirit of witchcraft is to shake your fist in the face of the Most High Power and say, I'm challenging you on your throne. I'm going to do things my way. Not the way you meant for it to be, but the way I see fit. How's that for blasphemy? Because the bottom line is we desire to rule the Father's creation. That's exactly what we're doing. We need to get that. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make a point. I hated to even do that. Because the reality is, man, I can't imagine doing that to the Father. I just can't imagine it. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't imagine living life without him. Because he's the only reason I'm still here. Because I'm telling you, family, I really don't want to do this world no more, in this life no more. I don't see the point. Because I don't want to be a part of House of Time's world. I don't want to be a part of man's world. I don't want, listen, the bottom line is, with the things that the Father's showing me now, it's like, hey, man, it's like, what, I don't get it. What do I got to be proud for? Why should I be lifted up anyway? In any way? I feel like I've squandered my whole life. And so the bottom line is, I don't even know why the Father even showing me these things, family. I don't even know. Because I ain't done nothing to deserve his goodness that he's bestowed upon me. I don't deserve it. But the bottom line is, it is what it is. These are divine truths of the Most High that he's revealing to his people today. And he's placed this stuff on my heart to share with people, to encourage them to seek him for yourself, so that you can find out the Father's will for your life. Because all he ever wanted you to be, family, is yourself, but with the understanding of his mind, so that you could serve him to the fullest as his child, as he gives us all the understanding of ourselves to overcome this damn pride that keeps us separated from him and keeps us slave to this damn world that we definitely need to be delivered from. And the only way we're going to be delivered is to continue to search and seek out and cry out to the Father for that deliverance, to bring forth what he desires for us to be delivered. Whether it's give up the ghost, or whether it's to be preserved in the presence of our enemies. However he chooses to do it, we each need to know what his will is for our lives. And it ain't all the same. Because some of us going to be martyrs. Some of us is going to be preserved in some way in the presence of our enemies, according to his will. And each of us need to know what his will is for our lives. And as I said, we got to understand. See, a lot of people want to get to the kingdom so that they can rule over others. Family, that's not going to happen. We ain't going to be ruling over nobody, sitting up in some chair telling somebody else to do. No, we going to help each other according to needs or whatever the Father has for us. But the bottom line is we going to serve by being just like Yahushua was. He came with a servant's heart to show the divine love of the Father to his chosen people. And then so now what's going to happen as he cleans us up by his Spirit, he's going to be we're his chosen people are going to show the same divine love to the rest of the nations. Okay. And the bottom line is going to be an example, just like Yahushua was to us. We're going to be that example to them. And they're going to be able to see the chosen people of the Most High operating in the spirit of his divine love. So yeah, that's when we won't have to claim to be the chosen people here no more. But by the way we live and carry ourselves toward one another in the spirit of divine love, because we sure ain't operating in that spirit right now, because the damn spirit we operating in right now, and I'm sorry for using them strong words, family, I'm passionate about this, okay, and I'm trying to make a point. I ain't trying to soften up nothing or nothing like that, fam. We need to understand we in dire straits. This ain't no time to be playing and worrying about hurting somebody's feelings because they believe something that they've been taught and told by men all the time. And as I said, this existence is full of things that people say God said, but it's nothing but people saying these things. And the things that the Father has said, people don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So as I said, family, bottom line is pride keeps us in that spirit of self-righteousness where we start judging people based on things we've been told, but things we haven't understood in the eyes of the Father. So the bottom line is, as I said, family, the Father is in the process of getting us to understand these things. So Yahushua was an example, because if he didn't wash the feet of his disciples, you know what I'm saying? We wouldn't even be here probably, because the Most High, that would have been the thing that broke the Most High's plan for our redemption. So guess what? Yep. If he didn't wash our feet, then we couldn't have possibly ever been servants of his. So he was showing the example in his own life. You see what I'm saying? He was checking his own flesh as he was obedient to the Father, and he washed the feet of his disciples. So he was the ultimate example of what we're supposed to have as we minister to others according to the divine will of the Father. See, I ain't talking about being a slave and being in a situation where you do things that encourage your masters to continue in evil. I'm not talking about that. You see what I'm saying? What I'm talking about is ministering to people that's truly in need, that they can even understand that what they're dealing with is the heart of the Creator. You see what I'm saying? Trying to minister to them and help them and heal them from all the crap that we've suffered in this world that's got us all being damaged goods. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been lied to about everything. So we've been abused and mistreated and all kind of things according to this life. This got us all messed up. So we got to be healed from that stuff. We got untreated trauma that's got to be dealt with, and the Father is in the process of dealing with that untreated trauma. As he begins to show us why we even went through those things, why we had to suffer those things. Because in reality, family, the investment of his Ruach was being tried and tested. That in spite of everything we've had to suffer and go through in this existence, family, we still see the Most High, and we still trust him, and we still love him, and we still cry out because he put his spirit in us to do so. So family, if we don't have the heart of the servant, we can't receive his spirit. It's simple as that. So the bottom line, he was teaching his disciples, you got to have a heart of a servant. Because to have a heart of servant, to be a servant, to have a servant's heart, family, I'm stumbling around with it, but to have a heart of the servant, family, the reality is that's to be a child of the Most High. Because that's how we rule, by serving. Expressing the spirit of his divine love to bring forth healing, to others around us. Okay, so if you lift it up in pride, then you can't help nobody else. To help you want to bring forth to be seen, and it's self-serving. And it's a lie and an act of blasphemy against the Most High power. So in other words, what I'm saying, family, is that as we're born of the Spirit, we take on that spirit of a foot washer. That's why I call this title feet washing, because it's something that we all got to do. We got to experience it. But it's only through the being born again of the spirit of his divine love, family, that's going to cause us to be a feet washer. Period. And when I'm talking about feet washing, it's not so much that we talking about washing somebody's feet, literally, even though we've done that in the past. But it goes beyond that, family. Feet washing is about meeting other people's needs when we in a position to help other people. We washing their feet then. So we got the heart of a servant. And that's what this is about. This is about the spirit of his divine love, family. And as we're caught up in the spirit of pride, we can't walk in that spirit. So this is why we must continue to ask the Father daily. And not only just daily, family, throughout the day. Father, please, do whatever work needs to be done in my life so I can become the servant you desire for me to be. Anything, whatever's in my life, Father, that you displeased with, please help me to understand it so I can let that thing go. Because I understand, Father, that the things that you really teach me or show me, and once I understand, it's not a struggle no more, because now my nature's been changed. And I can no longer walk in that nature that's contrary to your will. And that's walking in a spirit of pride and arrogance. So the bottom line is the Ruach HaKodesh, or the Holy Spirit, gives us a spirit of feet washer, foot washer. And that's having that desire to meet the needs of others. And also understanding that we are an example. And as Yahusha understood that he was an example. So as the Son of the Most High Power was willing to wash the feet of his disciples or his servants, how much more we should understand that that's his desire for us, to be willing to wash the feet of others that are in need around us. So therefore we exude the spirit of his divine love. And that's how the world's gonna know that we the chosen people. By our actions, as we able to walk in the spirit of his divine love. Thus we're able to be a light to the other nations. Because we've been doing all this talking and no walking. And the Father ain't going to accept that no more. Family, it's time now. It's time for us to grow the heck up and understand what hour we in, and continue to cry out to the Father to help us to grow up, so that we truly can serve him in the spirit of his divine love, which will be a witness to this world of who we are and who he is, because that's who we supposed to be lifting up. So family, I think that's about all I got to say about that. So we need to understand, the only way we gonna become foot washers is to be birthed in the spirit. And we can't be birthed in the spirit until we continue to ask and continue to seek and search it out, to be filled with the Spirit, so we could feel our purpose and our destiny on this walk to the kingdom. So family, with that said, until next time, I pray the Most High continue to bless you and keep you and watch out over you. As long as you continue to seek him for yourself, you're going to be all right. So with that said, until next time, one love and shalom.